Listen, tonight, the election. We're delighted now. We'll go stateside to Philadelphia in Pennsylvania, one of the swing states. Pablo O'Hana, senior political advisor who worked on the Biden and Harris campaign for the last year. Pablo, a very good afternoon. Welcome to Talk. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. A little bit, squeaky bum time, but we're getting there.
Yeah, well, so you don't sound American. Pablo
No,
O'Hana,
no, I'm British.
So Pablo sounds Spanish, O'Hana sounds Irish, you're English, and you're in America. It's a mess. What's going on?
I'm all over the place, yeah. I am actually British. My mum is Spanish. There's no Irish. I really wish there was, but I did live in Belfast for 2 years. Great city. So
help us out here, because this is, it seems like a seminal moment for not just the United States of America, but for the world. I think the world is watching with interest. I know that you've been working on the Biden and Harris campaign for the last year. So what I'm going to do to you is what I believe that Donald Trump should have done to Kamala Harris and before that Joe Biden. But let's talk about Kamala Harris. 6 months ago, this was the least popular vice president in the history of American politics. And what I would have wanted Donald Trump, if I was in America, to ask her is to explain how a woman who's been in charge of immigration has allowed 8 million migrants, both legal and illegal, to flood into the United States in the last 4 years. What plan does she have to rectify a situation that is her doing?
Well, when Kamala Harris was vice president, she brought forward a bill that got cross-party support, enhanced border checks, it increased funding. It was endorsed by the Border Patrol themselves. The Republicans backed it, had total cross-party support. What happened? Trump saw that his only campaign issue was about to be resolved, so he called around everyone, had the bill killed. It is easier for him to kill a bill and have something to campaign on than actually come up with a campaign strategy. So that is partly the issue there. Actually, net migration is not as high as you're saying it is there, but there is, on your point about Kamala Harris's popularity, I said from the very beginning that people just hadn't seen enough of her, and that is what we're seeing now. The more people see her, the more they love her. She has the energy, she has the momentum. That's where the campaign is going. There's no doubt about it. Voters are turning out in record numbers to demand leadership that works for them, that's actually focused on real issues, healthcare, jobs, a woman's right to choose, and actually fundamentally the principles of democracy, and Kamala Harris leads on those all of those issues.
Let me ask you something, because I was saying this at the beginning of the show, and I want to be educated. I'll watch with interest, as everybody else will on this side of the sea. I speak to my 21-year-old daughter just now in Edinburgh, and she said, I can't even believe you talk about Trump. This is a man who doesn't give, you talked about it, a woman's right to choose what they do with their bodies. Explain to me then how the Republicans imagine or believe that a majority of women in the United States would accept them saying you don't have control of your body. Explain to me how a political party thinks that that's a good idea. I'm just being honest. I'm trying to look at that side of the angle.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I find it really, really difficult to understand. And, I've spent 12 years working in politics. And in 2018, I worked on the campaign in Ireland to amend the constitution to legalize abortion. And it was the very first campaign of my life where I struggled, to be honest, completely struggled to see the other side of the argument. Every other campaign I've worked on the EU referendum campaign. I could see why you'd vote Leave. I obviously disagree, but I could totally see the other side of the argument. Abortion is one of those issues that I really struggle to see the other side of the argument. If you don't want to get an abortion, that's okay. But the idea that you could take that right away from somebody else, I just think is outrageous. And I find it puzzling. And
I mean, listen, I would...
The party has gone that direction.
Politically, I would be more akin to a Republican viewpoint than a Democratic. I'm being completely honest. There's other questions I'll ask you about Kamala, but just talking to my daughter earlier, she said something I'm not going to repeat on the radio, and you think, hold on a second, that's absolutely right. So that is the sticking point. We've talked about how they believe large numbers of young women are coming out to vote for Kamala Harris, but Donald Trump is, however one describes him, a complete enigma, and has the Republican Party in his thrall. He says it's his election to lose. We hear this side of the pond that it's 50-50 and it's neck and neck, and what? Not just because you're working for the Democrats. What is it? Does anybody have a bloody clue? They don't, do they, Pablo? They don't, do they? Nobody knows.
I mean, I have to say that, depending on what position you want to take, you can go wherever you want, right? So if you want to say you know, that Trump's going to lose historically, you can find polls to support that and vice versa. The one thing that I will say, there's a couple of things that's quite interesting. I went to my very first Trump rally a couple of days ago because I really wanted to see what it was like. And I agree with you that obviously I don't agree with Donald Trump, but I agree with you that he is a compelling force. He has been an extraordinary figure. There's no doubt about that at all. What I will say, though, is that I think the shine and the kind of charm and the magic has just been lost recently. It's when I was at the Trump rally, it was at Lancaster Airport on Monday, and it really felt like watching a second series of your favorite TV show. All the same people were there, you recognize them, but it really felt like the magic had gone, that you didn't really love it, that you were kind of forcing yourself to sit through it, even though you didn't, you know, you weren't really enjoying it. And I think that sort of reflects his campaign as well, is that it's the same lines coming out again and again. And I think generally people are quite tired of that, and people are looking to kind of move forward.
But then I would counter that with my biggest criticism of your candidate, right? Which is, and I can't believe this hasn't been talked about more. You're going to tell me I'm talking rubbish. She was part of a cover-up that allowed a man to be the leader of the free world for, I would think, more than 1 year, who was cognitively absolutely... I mean, anybody can see that Joe Biden should not have been in that position. Now, what would your answer be to the people who I think on the Republican side should have been at this from day one going, but you were part of conning the American people. Joe Biden was not up to the job. Why did you continue to support him, Kamala Harris? I think that's a perfectly justifiable question. It's not asked because he's busy saying they're eating cats and she's calling him Adolf Hitler and the whole thing's a disaster. Those are the sorts of things that I want to ask. It was a cover-up over Joe Biden, wasn't it?
I think that the reason, coming from a sort of strategic perspective, the reason that the Republicans haven't gone hard on that is frankly because they're now in that position. Obviously, yes, I will defend Joe Biden. I think he's been an extraordinary president. But Trump now is just rambling and he's stumbling all over the place, and he's clearly not fit to be president.
No,
not just on the values and the issues, but I mean, at that rally that I saw, it was 2 hours. First of all, he was an hour and a half late, and then it was 2 hours just rambling. We got 15 minutes about the thickness of glass surrounding him. I mean, it was a really poor performance.
I've got to read something to you quickly, Pablo, from Michelle, who says, you're factually incorrect. Trump isn't against women's freedom of choice. He's just making those laws the choice of each individual state. Just quickly respond to that.
That is an absolute cop-out. No, it's a cop-out. I'm sorry. Donald Trump has been very clear, so has J.D. Vance, that they are going to criminalize abortion nationwide and extraordinarily in the cases of rape and incest.
This is what my daughter said to me. Will you do me a favour? Because I haven't spoken to many Democrats, and certainly not one with a Spanish mother, an Irish father who lives in America and sounds like a Cockney. Can you come on when the results are known tomorrow? Can we have you on tomorrow?
Yes, of course. Listen, tomorrow is going to, tomorrow is going to be a good day. I'll leave you with some fun stuff. We're knocking on 1,000 doors a minute here. We've got 150,000 volunteers. We knocked on over 3 million doors yesterday. Kamala Harris is going to win. It is going to be a good day tomorrow. So
you are coming on tomorrow. One of us is going to eat humble pie. Pablo O'Hana, senior political advisor to Biden and Kamala Harris. Book him for tomorrow. That's fantastic. We'll get him on. Don't forget that election night special tonight. Mike Graham, 1 till 4 as the results come in. So much to cram in.